Chapter 161. Can you promise me with your body? Yes, it's from the hospital. Jianyun recognized this number. It was the hospital's number. She suddenly became nervous. Her hands trembled a few times, but she could not answer the call. Ouyang Beicheng saw this and reached out to take the phone from Jianyun's hands. After the call was picked up, he wanted to press the foreign sound. He thought about it and put it next to his ear. Jianyun and Ouyang Shufan both stared at him eagerly. The three of them were so nervous that their eyeballs could not even move. They were afraid that Ouyang Beicheng's expression would change and he would convey some bad. Okay, I got it. Ouyang Beicheng said a few words to the other side and hung up the phone. Lil uncle. Jianyun saw Ouyang Beicheng's serious face and was scared. She almost cried. Yunduo, don't be afraid. Grandpa and Grandma are here. Chen Shufan quickly comforted Jianyun. Ouyang Shen shook his beard and asked Ouyang Shen, what did the hospital say? Ouyang Beicheng's expression did not change. Sister's awake. The hospital said she could visit. When he said this, the room instantly quieted down. Jianyun looked at Ouyang Beicheng in a daze. Even Chen Shufan had a puzzled look on her face. It was as if she didn't understand Ouyang Beicheng's words. In the end, it was Ouyang Shen who went berserk. He jumped up and slapped Ouyang Beicheng's head. He blew his beard and glared at Ouyang Beicheng. You bastard brat, why are you putting on such a bad face with such good news? I almost got a heart attack from you. Ouyang Beicheng, who had always been the only one who beat others, did not dare to make a sound after being slapped by his father. He kept his nose closed and did not say a word, but he was not convinced in his heart. He did not put on a bad face. He was clearly very happy, okay? Only at this moment did Jianyun react. She was simply overjoyed. She grabbed her bag and was about to rush out. Hurry up. Hurry up. Chen Shufan quickly called out to the father and son, who were still fighting, and chased after them. In the hospital, in the ICU, Jianyun encountered a rush hour after work and there was a traffic jam on the way. When she rushed to the hospital, it was already close to 6 o'clock. The daily visitation time in the intensive care ward was fixed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Although the visitation time had passed at this time, due to the special circumstances Kansas. But only one person, Jianyun, changed her clothes and went in. She found that Baizhe was there and seemed to be checking. Ouyang Fei's eyes were open. When she saw Jianyun come in, her eyes were open. Mom. Jianyun looked at Ouyang Fei, who was finally awake, and suddenly had a feeling that it was like a lifetime ago. She almost lost the person closest to her in her life. How could she not be afraid? Jianyun, the patient just woke up and needs to rest. You cannot stay for too long. There will be plenty of time in the future. Baizhe comforted Jianyun gently and instructed her before he turned around and left. Jianyun sat beside Ouyang Fei's bed. Originally, she wanted to talk to her for a while, but she also knew that Baizhe was right. Her mother suffered severe injuries and had undergone 2 major surgeries. Her body was very weak, and she could not let her mother worry too much. Mom, take a good rest. What do you have to say? Wait until you are well. Jianyun held Ouyang Fei's hand and placed it on her face with attachment, as she softly said. Ouyang Fei's hand suddenly tightened. Jianyun looked up at her and saw a look of urgency in her eyes. She knew her mother was not like a girl, and Jianyun immediately guessed that her mother had something to ask her. Mother, do you want to ask me something? Jianyun asked. Ouyang Fei blinked. She was wearing a breathing device and could not speak. It was difficult for her to even move her fingers. She could only use the blink of an eye to express her feelings. Grandpa and Grandma are outside. Do you want to see them? Jianyun started to guess. Ouyang Fei's eyes did not move. She was a bit anxious. Jianyun frowned. It seemed that her mother did not want to ask this. Then, what could it be? Mother, don't be anxious. Jianyun suddenly had an idea. She suddenly remembered that day, her mother was angry and anxious because of Linrong's words. She was unconscious, so she carefully asked, do you want to ask me Linrong's words? Before Jianyun could finish her words, Ouyang Fei blinked her eyes with all her might. Mom, I promise you that I have never done that kind of terrible thing. Don't believe Linrong's words, she is lying. Jianyun could not help feeling wronged. Why did 1 and 2 come to malign her actions? When Ouyang Fei heard Jianyun say this, she seemed to be relieved. She closed her eyes and a tear flowed down from the corner of her eyes. Jianyun saw that she seemed very tired and did not dare to disturb her here. So she said, Mother, rest well. I will come to see you tomorrow. How are you? Ouyang Fei blinked her eyes, and Jianyun held her bony hand again before getting up and leaving. Ouyang Shen and the others gathered around Jianyun and asked her about her condition. Jianyun told them that they could not see Ouyang Fei today, so they did not waste any more time and prepared to go back. Because Ouyang Fei woke up, Jianyun only felt that the haze that covered her head these few days was swept away. On the way back, she lowered the window, and for the first time, she felt that the night in the city was actually so beautiful. Before she reached home, Jianyun received another call from Huo Liancheng. But now there were so many people in the car, and Jianyun could not take the call. She was afraid that she would be questioned by her maternal grandparents again, so she refused to. Jianyun originally wanted to send a message, But when she opened the phone, her grandmother called her from behind and asked if she was hungry. Then she asked Ouyang Beicheng to drive the car to the restaurant. Coincidentally, they were almost at Jian Yun's residential area. There were many home-cooked restaurants by the road. Ouyang Beicheng pulled over and asked Jian Yun and Ouyang Shun to get off the car first. This way, Jian Yun could not send a message. She could only think of calling Huo Liancheng later. Her mother was able to wake up. It was all thanks to him helping to invite Dr. Elson. She had to thank him properly and logically. Jian Yun found a restaurant that she and Luo Yanyan used to frequently go to. After entering, she first found a private room to arrange for Ouyang Shun and Chen Shufen to sit down and let them order. She excused herself to go to the toilet and slipped away to make a Jian Yun dialed Huo Liancheng's phone. The bell rang twice and the other side picked up. "I'm sorry. There was someone by the side just now. It was not easy to answer the phone." Jian Yun immediately apologized. Huo Liancheng was such a petty person. If she did not explain, he would probably be angry again. "Who is it?" Huo Liancheng's tone was very calm. He was not as tired as he was in the afternoon, but his throat was still a little hoarse. "My grandparents knew my mom was in the hospital. They came early this morning." Jian Yun paused and then said, "By the way, my mom woke up. Thank you so much this time." "Then how are you going to thank me?" Huo Liancheng heard her and his tone became relaxed. He was still in the mood to play Jian Yun. "Ah, what do you want?" Jian Yun did not expect Huo Liancheng to be so rude. She was planning to thank him, but she had not thought of what to give him. Because he was so rich, he definitely did not lack anything. "Then, can you give yourself to me?" Huo Liancheng suddenly said. Chapter 162, All I Want Is You. Jian Yun would never take his words seriously. She could not help but twitch her lips. "Didn't you not care about me? Besides, didn't I already argue with you?" "Who are you talking about the proof with?" Jian Yun was about to say. Huo Liancheng wanted to play with her again when she heard a cold voice. She was so scared that she almost jumped up. "Whoa!" Jian Yun turned her head and saw Ouyang Beicheng looking at her with a strange expression. Her heart jumped. She hurriedly covered her phone and said angrily, "Little uncle, why did you eavesdrop on my call?" Ouyang Beicheng just stared at Jian Yun and asked, "Did you get a certificate with him?" "No, of course." Jian Yun denied it. "I heard it." Ouyang Beicheng raised his eyebrows. "You heard it wrong." Jian Yun refused to admit it. She suddenly remembered that the phone was still connected. She quickly picked up the phone and said to the other side, "Hang up first, I will tell you later." Finishing, Jian Yun turned around and walked out. Ouyang Beicheng pulled her back and said sternly, "Yun Duo. Little uncle, this is the toilet. Don't you think talking here stinks?" Jian Yun pouted and glared back at Ouyang Beicheng. "What's going on? Tell me clearly." Ouyang Beicheng did not give Jian Yun the chance to change the topic. "I'm joking. Can't you tell?" Jian Yun rolled her eyes. She knew that if she did not give Ouyang Beicheng an explanation today, he would not let it go. So she made up a random excuse to get away with it. "Really?" Ouyang Beicheng raised his eyebrows. His face was full of doubt. Clearly, he did not believe Jian Yun's words. "Let's go. Grandpa and Grandma are still waiting to eat." Jian Yun tried hard not to look guilty. She held Ouyang Beicheng's arm and pulled him out. Ouyang Shun and Chen Shufen had already ordered by the dining table. When they saw Jian Yun come over, they passed the menu to her and said lovingly, "Yun Duo, order whatever you want to eat. Grandpa will pay for it today." Jian Yun saw that the dishes her grandparents ordered were very light, so she ordered braised pork ribs for herself and Ouyang Beicheng. "Waiter." Ouyang Shun saw that Jian Yun had finished ordering, so he immediately took it and asked the waiter to take it. Ouyang Beicheng originally wanted to order something, but he didn't even touch the side of the menu. His outstretched hand froze in the air, which made him feel sad. It turned out that in his parents' eyes, his son was actually not as noble as his granddaughter. No matter how Ouyang Shun looked at Ouyang Beicheng, he did not like him. Now that he saw Ouyang Beicheng's face full of injustice, he blew his beard and glared at him. "You still have the face to eat? If you don't find a wife for the new year, don't go in." "Mom?" Ouyang Beicheng looked at Chen Shufen pitifully. He originally wanted Chen Shufen to find trouble for him, but this time, Chen Shufen also supported Ouyang Shun, which was rare. "Your father is right. You are already in your 30s. Children about the same age as you are in primary school. You don't even have a wife until now. We are going to lose all our face because of you." Chen Shufen knocked on the table. She was worried for Ouyang Beicheng. "Tell me, I have introduced so many girls to you. Why don't you take a fancy to any of them?" "They don't take a liking to me." Ouyang Beicheng was very helpless. He quietly pulled Jian Yun downstairs and asked Jian Yun to quickly help him out. However, Jian Yun hated him for ignoring her interrogation in the afternoon, so she moved to the side and pretended not to understand. On the contrary, Ouyang Shun could not stand it and glared at Ouyang Beicheng again. "Don't pull Yunduo. Yunduo is younger than you, but she is much more sensible than you. She knows that she loves me and your mother. You little rascal knows to make us worry about you. Elder, Grandma, actually little uncle is not unpopular with women. Yesterday someone chased him to the hospital to look for him." Jian Yun quietly moved to Chen Shufen's side while looking at Ouyang Beicheng. "Is that so? How old is a girl? What does she do? Isn't she beautiful?" Chen Shufen's eyes lit up when she heard that. Jianyun, shut up. Wu Yongbeicheng said angrily. She is my high school classmate. She looks good. She is now a doctor in Qinghu City Second Hospital. She said she has known little uncle for 6 years. Jianyun ignored Wu Yongbeicheng's murderous gaze and made a face at Wu Yongbeicheng as she spoke. She is your classmate. She is only 26 years old. She is 8 years younger than Beicheng. Isn't she too different? Chen Shufen was not so happy when she heard that. She could not help sighing with a frown. She is too young. Beicheng does not return home all year round. The doctor is also busy. The two of them might not be able to meet each other once a year. It does not sound very appropriate. All right. Miss Ren might not like this rascal. What are you worried about? Wu Yongshen's face was full of expectation, but he was discouraged at this time. Mom, let's eat. Wu Yongbeicheng could not take it anymore. The waiter started to serve the dishes. He quickly picked up the chopsticks and filled a bowl of dishes for Chen Shufen. Wu Yongshen was old-fashioned. He adhered to the fine tradition of eating without saying a word or sleeping, so when they ate, no one spoke at the table. After a meal, it was getting late. Wu Yongshen and Chen Shufen were old and usually needed to sleep after 8 o'clock at night, so Jianyun and the others did not delay and went back after paying the bill. Luo Yanyan was not around and her bed was empty. Jianyun found a blanket and made Wu Yongshen and Wu Yongbeicheng sleep while she slept with Chen Shufen. However, Wu Yongshen expressed his anger when he saw Wu Yongbeicheng and was determined not to share a room with him. Wu Yongbeicheng was too lazy to argue with the old man and said that he could just make a bed, so he made a happy decision. At 9 o'clock in the evening, Chen Shufen and Wu Yongshen had already fallen asleep. Wu Yongbeicheng was lying on the sofa and did not make a bed. After Jianyun washed up, she hid on the balcony and made a call. She was picked up again after 2 rings. Are you done? He asked. Huo Liancheng's voice was a little hoarse. It was quiet on the other side of the phone. Jianyun calculated the time difference. It should be 2 in the afternoon in Switzerland. She could not help but ask, are you taking an afternoon break? Did I disturb you? No. Huo Liancheng's answer was simple. There was nothing more to say, but Jianyun felt something was wrong with the atmosphere. 2 days ago, they were still at war. Why did it make her have an ambiguous feeling now? Oh. Jianyun suddenly did not know what to say. Ha, have you thought of how to thank me? Huo Liancheng suddenly laughed softly. His voice was gentle. Jianyun could almost imagine that his eyebrows were relaxed and his dark eyes were filled with a smile like spring water. I don't know what you want. Do you have anything you want? Jianyun's heart moved and she tried her best not to think about his appearance. This guy definitely did not know that his good looks could make people's hearts beat faster even from such a distance. I want you. Huo Liancheng said in a deep voice. His voice was low and hoarse, like the sound of a zither playing across the water. It quietly stirred up a circle of ripples, all the way to the depths of Jianyun's heart. Chapter 163, Hidden Secret. Jianyun's face immediately turned red. Even her ears began to heat up. Luckily, they were separated by the phone line. Huo Liancheng could not see her face. Otherwise, he would have laughed at her again. Yes, he must have said such ambiguous words deliberately to play with her. He had always been such a bad person. When she thought about this, the temperature on Jianyun's face dropped. She spat. This joke is not funny at all. Bad girl, you know I am not joking. Huo Liancheng did not laugh. Instead, he became serious. I will not believe you. Anyway, I will not give you another one. Jianyun thought to herself. Even if he was not joking, he just wanted to play with her. She would not fall for it. The education she had received since she was young was very traditional. She would not let herself be with a man she did not love so casually. This was also the reason why she could not choose a man to marry despite having a blind date. However, Huo Liancheng clearly did not intend to change the gift. Then what do you think I lack? Jianyun thought for a while and sighed. Then let me think about it again. Yes, I will go back after I finish my work here. Huo Liancheng smiled. He felt good to be able to chat with her. Huo Liancheng felt that he still did not know her well enough. If he had known that she was so stubborn, he would have found a way to lock her up when he came back this time. Instead of slowly approaching her, he had wasted so much time. There's no hurry. You do what you need to do. After Jianyun finished speaking, she felt that the meaning of her words was as if she did not want him to come back. It was too obvious. She quickly said again, take a rest. I want to sleep too. Are you at home now? Huo Liancheng did not want to hang up so quickly. Just listening to Jianyun's voice made him feel at ease, so he did not have anything to say. No, my grandparents are here. They are in the house I rented. I am here too. Jianyun turned her head and looked. She suddenly realized that Wu Yongbeicheng had unknowingly appeared behind her. She was shocked and immediately felt a little guilty. I will not tell you anymore. I, little uncle, am here. Jianyun did not wait for Huo Liancheng to reply. She quickly hung up the phone. Huo Liancheng leaned against the bed and looked at the silent phone. His handsome eyebrows could not help but frown. On the other side, Jianyun put away the phone and did not look at Wu Yongbeicheng. She lowered her head and was about to rush inside. Come here, let's talk. Wu Yongbeicheng obviously did not plan to let Jianyun go. Little uncle, I am sleepy. I'm going to sleep. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Jian Yun yawned exaggeratedly. She glanced at Ouyang Beicheng and kept running towards her room. If you don't want your mother to hear anything, you better tell me the truth. Ouyang Beicheng grabbed Jian Yun and pulled her back. Little uncle, I really don't know what you are talking about. Jian Yun was also annoyed. Ouyang Beicheng was going to blow his mother's hair if she did not tell him the truth. Do you love him? Ouyang Beicheng asked Jian Yun in a different way. Boo? Jian Yun pretended to be stupid. You know who I am talking about. Your man, Huo Liancheng. Ouyang Beicheng was losing his patience. Jian Yun felt a little embarrassed and conflicted when she heard the words, your man, but she could not show it on her face. She blinked and said half-truthfully, we haven't known each other for long. We can't even talk about love. Do you like him? Ouyang Beicheng asked again. Do you like him? Jian Yun suddenly felt a little lost. The first time they met, he gave her a hand. When she saw his face, she was amazed. How could there be such a handsome man? At that moment, she should have liked him. But at that time, it was based on the instinct of humans to pursue beauty. It had nothing to do with feelings. But later, he sent her to the hospital, in his car. His venomous tongue made her dislike him. Later, when she saw him in the company, he deliberately took her glasses away in front of many people. His words were ambiguous, making her become the target of public criticism. At that time, she did not like him at all. After that, they started to tangle with each other. His mood changed unpredictably. Coupled with the words he insulted her, she could not like him at all. However, if she did not feel anything for him, it would not make sense. At least, when he kissed her, she did not feel disgusted. However, she did not even want to touch the hands of the men on the blind date. Occasionally, she would touch them, which made her feel as uncomfortable as if she had swallowed a fly. Jian Yun was at a loss for a moment. Ouyang Beicheng stared at her with a burning gaze, as if he wanted to see the secret on her face. Jian Yun could not answer for a long time, but Ouyang Beicheng seemed to have understood something, so he did not ask further. He waved his hand and said, Yun Duo, I will not interfere with your relationship, but you also need to figure out the gap between you and him, no matter what reason you are with him. Whether you like him or not, it doesn't matter. Remember one thing, and keep your own heart. This way, even if something happens in the future, it will minimize the harm to you. Little uncle. Jian Yun did not expect Ouyang Beicheng to say this to her. She thought he would scold her when he found out that she was with Huo Liancheng. But why did he want her to protect his heart well? She did not love Huo Liancheng. Even if they were together now, they had to separate. How could she be hurt? Go to sleep. Ouyang Beicheng sighed in his heart. He knew very well that, although Jian Yun looked strong on the outside, her heart was softer than anyone else's. As long as someone was good to her, she would remember and repay thousands of times. So what worried Ouyang Beicheng the most was that Huo Liancheng would use this to make Jian Yun fall in love with him. However, this was not necessarily a good thing. Instead, it could be a disaster. Ouyang Beicheng did not have any opinions about Huo Liancheng. It was just that as a man, he knew very well how popular a man with such excellent looks and family background would be. The more popular he was, the more unsafe he would be. Jian Yun laid on the bed but could not sleep for a long time. She kept feeling that Ouyang Beicheng seemed to have seen something, but she clearly did not say anything. Jian Yun covered her face and tried to clear her mind. She felt that she should be worried now. Once Huo Liancheng came back, she would move back to live with him, but the two people she was not familiar with would live under the same roof. Just thinking about it made her scalp tingle. Sigh, I don't want to think about it anymore. Let's wait for him to come back first. When the time comes, we will fight with the soldiers. When the water comes, we will cover Ray Sang. On the other hand, she had to think about what she should give him. The night was silent. The next morning, Chen Shufen and Ouyang Shen woke up. They did not sleep well, and woke up before 5 in the morning. It was not their first time coming to Jian Yun's place. The two old men walked down the stairs and went to the community garden to exercise. Jian Yun slept very soundly and she did not know when Chen Shufen woke up. It was only when her phone rang that she woke up. It was Bai Yanran's phone. Chapter 164, Photos Taken Secretly. That day, Jian Yun and Bai Yanran left each other's cell phone numbers after eating at the restaurant. When they came back, they added WeChat. Jian Yun was almost asleep. When she saw Bai Yanran calling, she had a good impression of this high school classmate who could possibly become her aunt, so she hurriedly picked it up. Jian Yun, I didn't disturb you, right? Bai Yanran was very embarrassed. I'm sorry for calling you so early. It's okay. I'm up. Jian Yun looked at the time. It was almost 7 o'clock. Grandfather and grandmother should be back soon. Jian Yun thought Bai Yanran was going to ask about Ouyang Beicheng. She got out of bed and walked to the door to look outside. Ouyang Beicheng was not there. He must have gone out for a run. Yanran, I, little uncle, have gone out. If you are fine today, go to the hospital later. My mother is awake. Grandfather and grandmother are here. Ah? Bai Yanran hesitated. Forget it. I will not go. He does not like to see me. If I appear there, he will be angry. I will go to see Auntie another day. Okay then. Jian Yun thought about it and felt that it was right. Bai Yanran and Ouyang Beicheng's matter had not been settled yet. Now was not the time to see the parents. Furthermore, she had not found out what Ouyang Beicheng was thinking about Bai Yanran. This matter could not be rushed. Junyan, I have something to tell you. Bai Yanran suddenly said, you don't really look at the group chat on WeChat, right? Yesterday someone in the group said that you. Bai Yanran paused and Junyan felt a little strange. What do I have to say? I said you were together with an old man, Bai Yanran sighed. Chen Yo, do you still remember? It is the one who has a very good relationship with Lin Lanlan. She said that she saw you get off an old man's luxury car with her own eyes. Why are these people so dirty? Junyan also got angry when she heard that. Don't be angry, I have already scolded them, but they are the best at catching wind and shadows. Furthermore, your relationship with Lin Lanlan is now so stiff. They are all from her faction. They must be gossiping behind her back. When you are free, go to the group and say a few words. Actually, most people do not believe it. Bai Yanran comforted Junyan. I know, thank you. After Junyan said goodbye to Bai Yanran, she opened WeChat. Her student group chat record in Boshan No. 1 High School had reached 5,000 to 6,000. Junyan flipped through the chat one by one. Most of the previous chat was just small talk. However, it seemed that Lin Lanlan was very active and appeared almost every day. The moment she appeared, a group of people followed to flatter her. Junyan focused on yesterday's news, and indeed saw Chen Yue say that she personally saw her get down from an old man's luxury car at the entrance of the hospital. She even tried her best to describe that old man's appearance was ugly and old. Then she exaggerated and said that Junyan flirted with that old man. One look and one could tell that it was because of the old man's money. Junyan could not bear to look at the following words. Some of the people below were making a ruckus, and some were questioning Chen Yue's words, like what Bai Yanran said. There were also a few people who came out together with Bai Yanran to scold Chen Yue for spreading rumors and slander. These conversations were all last night. But this morning, there were people discussing this topic again. There were also people who brought up the truth. Chen Yue sent out a few photos. When Junyan saw these photos, she immediately became angry and happy. It was true that the person in the photos was her, but the so-called Bao Yi, raising her old man, was Huo Liancheng's driver, Old Wang. When the group of people saw these photos, they instantly became excited and said everything. I really can't tell. Junyan used to be such a pure girl, but she actually did this business. I heard that her mother was seriously injured and needed a large sum of money to be hospitalized. Is it because of this reason? That's why. That's possible. Otherwise, with her looks, she would be able to find a rich second generation in a matter of minutes. Dozens of messages instantly appeared in the group. Chen Yue also came out when she saw that the atmosphere was almost over. Didn't you want the truth? Now believe it. I told you that Jianyun is pretending to be pure. In fact, she is more despicable than anyone else. For money, she did not hesitate to sell her own body. Haha, you should all thank me for exposing her true colors to you. Otherwise, you all will continue to be deceived by her pure appearance. Chen Yue said arrogantly. Just a few photos can't prove anything. Perhaps Jianyun only knows that person. Someone questioned. You are too naive. Of course I dare to say that because I have solid evidence. In fact, Jianyun is a man with a husband. Chen Yue was still pouring dirty water on Jianyun. Her financial backer is far more than just this old man. When she went to college, she often went to the clubhouse to take a seat. When she said this, it immediately caused another uproar. What evidence do you have? Tell me. Actually, none of you know that the one Xu Haiyan had his eyes on at the beginning was not Jianyun. In the end, Jianyun pestered him and snatched him away. Fortunately, good and evil will always be rewarded. Jianyun did not end up well even after using all her means. She was still dumped. Her mother was seriously injured. She must have received retribution. Chen Yeo said it excitedly and did not see clearly who was the one who asked the question. She was still curious. Why did the people in the group suddenly stop talking and even suspect that they were for? I'm not out of line. It was only when someone privately asked her to see who sent the message that Chen Yue discovered that the silent Zhan Yun, who had been in seclusion for 10,000 years, had actually come out. The message that she had just requested for evidence was sent by Zhan Yun. Chen Yue instantly became a little nervous. How could she have any evidence? It was just that she did not want Lin Lanlan to be bullied, so she wanted to help out. However, she immediately straightened her back. What was she afraid of? The one she should be afraid of should be Jian Yun. Jian Yun originally did not want to care about these gossips. In the world, how could there be people who did not say it behind the scenes? She was not afraid of the shadows, and those groundless rumors would mostly break themselves as time went by. However, Chen Yue mentioned her mother and even said that it was karma for her mother to be seriously injured. This touched Jian Yun's bottom line. Chen Yue is right. You slandered and humiliated her. My words and those stolen photos, I've already taken screenshots and saved them. Jian Yun decided not to tolerate it anymore. If she did not care about today's matter, it was hard to guarantee that these people would not continue to catch wind and shadow in the future. If these words were heard by her mother again, she would definitely be worried. Also, get off the luxury car. It might not be what you call being kept. The driver might be the driver. John Yun thought about it and added, "Of course, with your looks, even if you want to get off a luxury car like that, you won't have a chance." After sending the message, John Yun quit WeChat. She did not care what the people in the group would say. Now she needed to find a lawyer to ask. John Yun first thought of Zhou Xiaolong, but she had already taken out his phone number. At the last moment, she still did not dial the number. Chapter 165, I Miss You. Zhou Xiaolong had yet to give up on Jian Yun. Ever since he helped Wu Wenjing solve the accident, he would chat with her on WeChat every few days. Occasionally, he would call to invite her to dinner, but Jian Yun politely refused, so it was better not to look for him now. Otherwise, it would easily lead to misunderstandings. Other than Zhou Xiaolong, the lawyer Jian Yun knew was only the lawyer from Huo Liancheng's company, Lawyer Lei. He was also following up on the case of his mother's injury. He should be able to consult him. However, Jian Yun did not have his number. If she wanted to look for him, she had to go through Huo Liancheng. Should she tell Huo Liancheng first? Jian Yun took out Huo Liancheng's cell phone number again. However, when she looked at the time, she hesitated again. It should be midnight in Switzerland now. Could he have already gone to bed? If she called him at this time, would she disturb him? Jian Yun thought about it and decided to wait until afternoon to make this call. Anyway, she was not in a hurry. However, just as Jian Yun was about to put down her phone, she felt her phone was vibrating. Jian Yun looked down and raised her eyebrows. It was such a coincidence. She wanted to call Huo Liancheng, but he actually called her. Was this a telepathic thought? She did not want to have a telepathic thought with Huo Liancheng. Hey, why aren't you asleep yet? Jian Yun picked up the phone and tried to figure out how to talk to Huo Liancheng. I miss you. Huo Liancheng answered matter-of-factly. Forget it. Jian Yun could not tell whether his words were true or not. When she heard him talk about love, she immediately stopped him. No matter what he said, she would pretend he was telling the truth. Huo Liancheng naturally did not know what Jian Yun was thinking. He just felt that she always did not believe him, which made him very upset. What he said was clearly the truth. He did not know if it was because he had tied her up with a marriage contract. He knew that she was waiting for him at home. This time, he was more eager than ever to go back. He wanted to hug her and kiss her. Only her aura could make him feel at ease. So when Huo Liancheng heard Jian Yun ask him for Lawyer Lei's phone number, he immediately frowned and was very unhappy. Why did you look for him? Huo Liancheng knocked on the table with his knuckles. I have something to ask. Jian Yun did not want to tell him the reason. Huo Liancheng had said something similar to what Chen Yue had said to her. She did not want him to know. It would make her feel uncomfortable hiding in her heart. What is it? Huo Liancheng was curious. He wanted to know more about her. It's nothing. Jian Yun hesitated when she saw that Huo Liancheng wanted to get to the bottom of it. Should she not mention this to him? She hesitated for a moment and said hesitantly, Forget it. I will not look for him. I will look for someone else. Who do you want to look for? Zhou Xiaolong? Huo Liancheng was annoyed that Jian Yun was not willing to tell him. She was still on guard against him. Jian Yun was speechless. She had just thought about it. How did Huo Liancheng react so quickly? Don't look for him. Later, I will ask Lei Chancheng to contact you. Huo Liancheng would never give Jian Yun and Zhou Xiaolong a chance to rekindle their old relationship. Even if Jian Yun did not like that man, it was hard to guarantee that Zhou Xiaolong would not use this chance to pester her again. Besides, he wanted to know what happened to Jian Yun. He would ask Lei Chancheng later. Although this roundabout way did not make him feel good, his living with the wild cat had just begun. He had plenty of opportunities to occupy her heart in the future. Oh, okay. Jian Yun noticed that Huo Liancheng seemed to be in a bad mood. She was hesitating if she should care about him. At this time, he seemed to have called. I have a phone. Let's do this first. I will call you later. Huo Liancheng said hurriedly and hung up the phone. Jian Yun waited for a while, but there was no phone call. She got up and went to wash up. When she brushed her teeth, she found that her phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. She picked it up, and a bright male voice sounded. Miss Jian? Lawyer Lei? Jian Yun had seen Lei Chensheng once and was not familiar with his voice. Yes, it's me. Do you need me for something? Lei Chensheng asked. Yes, I need to ask you something. That's right. If someone secretly took a picture of a person and deliberately spread rumors in the chat group, in this case, can you sue this man for libel? Jian Yun considered her choice of words and thought about what to say. That depends on the severity of the situation. If it did not cause harm to the person, the inspection department will not accept it. Lei Chensheng paused and said, But you can file a civil lawsuit for violation of reputation. Do you have any evidence? Is a screenshot of WeChat considered evidence? Jian Yun was not very disappointed when she heard that. She saw Chen Yue's words, which was that she was angry at that time. Now that she had calmed down, it was clear that she was innocent. It had not been a day or two since she was wrongly accused. Those who believed in her would naturally believe her. Those who did not believe her would selectively ignore the evidence, even if it was in front of them. Forget it. I will add your WeChat. Send the screenshot, Lei Chensheng said. Although he was a famous lawyer in the country, he had always handled big cases. He had never dealt with small cases like this. However, Jian Yun was Huo Liancheng's subordinate. Would he dare to ignore her? After hanging up the phone, Jian Yun opened WeChat and saw Lei Qiansheng's request. She accepted it, but hesitated when she was about to send a screenshot. She suddenly thought that Lei Qiansheng was Huo Liancheng's lawyer, so he was Huo Liancheng's employee. If she sent the screenshot to him, it would be equivalent to sending it to Huo Liancheng indirectly. No. She didn't want Huo Liancheng to know about it, so she went around in circles. In this way, she might as well tell him directly. Lawyer Lei, I thought about it. It's just a few casual words from a few people. There's no need to care too much. Forget it. I'm sorry to disturb you. Jian Yun sent a message to Lei Qiansheng. Lei Qiansheng was waiting for the screenshot to be taken. He was prepared to deal with that brat who dared to lie about Huo Liancheng's woman no matter what. He did not expect Jian Yun to suddenly say that she gave up. He could not help but raise his eyebrows and sent a screenshot of the message to Huo Liancheng. After a while, Huo Liancheng replied with a few words, "Do as you see fit." Lei Qiansheng raped. After working with Huo Liancheng for so long, he naturally understood what he meant, so he replied with an okay gesture. "Okay, I got it. If you need any help, feel free to ask." Lei Qiansheng turned around and sent a smiley face symbol to Jian Yun. After Jian Yun read the message, she put her phone on the bed and went out to wash her face, so she did not know. In that moment, the high school crowd was in an uproar. It was Bai Yanran who later told her that when Chen Yue saw Jian Yun's sentence, she was immediately angered and cried. She pretended to be pitiful in the group chat, and her friends all came out to scold Jian Yun for being too much. They relied on their looks to bully others or something. Then, with Bai Yanran as the leader, the group of people who had a good impression of Jian Yun started to scold those people. However, Bai Yanran said that what was strange was that Chen Yue was originally jumping up and down the most fiercely, and suddenly did not know why there was no news. Then her best friends came up and said that Chen Yue was taken away.